you do that? How did you do that?
Welcome back everyone to another episode of All About Mechanics. Now today is going to be the Moon Hunter Keep dungeon from the Wolf Hunter DLC, and this is going to be the same setup as usual with one tank, one healer, one stamina DPS and one magicka DPS, making sure that no rolls are left out. This is a very tricky dungeon and the hard mode is very challenging, so keep your eyes peeled and pay attention to the mechanics and you will eventually do it. Here we go. Now, when you first come into this dungeon, you will be greeted with a few ads. You've got the main character in front of us where you pick up the quest, but as you go to the right and we go through the kind of prison area, there are a few archers and a couple of melee types. They come in and out of these little cages, so you got to be really, really careful. They do kind of flood in all at once. Now, the melee ones aren't too bad in this particular pull, but the range ones do need to be interrupted. So as the tank, kind of grab everything in and pull them all together as much as you can while turn them away from the group. This is kind of your easing into the dungeon, making it not quite so scary. But it's going to get a lot worse. There's another pull just here. Again, grab the archers, grab the wolves, pull them all in together as much as you can as the tank and turn them away from the group. As DPS and healers as well, pay attention to anything that requires an interrupt because they do tend to hit quite hard. But their health isn't too high, they're not too stressful to deal with to start with. As we go up the stairs, we're leaving the prison area and we've got our first boss. Now this can be really, really tricky. What you want to do is get in a big circle around the boss and pay attention to what's about to happen. The tank needs to turn it away from the group at all times and you must stay back. When he does a big spread in AoE, you want to move backwards and then just wiggle a little bit to get away from the small AoEs that fire off it. As you see, we get caught by the first one. Now there will be fountains of blood that come out of the ground as well, which you need to wiggle around with and stay out of them. Don't hug each other because you'll overlap them, but just be careful. Spread out. And at about 80% health, 50 and 30, you will get ads in the room. These werewolves must be grabbed by the tank instantly. Otherwise, they will one-shot a DPS or healer, so pay attention to those. Again, remember, whenever there's a spread in AoE, move backwards, wait for the little AoE to be fired at your direction, and then move out of the way of it. You must try and kill these ads if you can, but above all, at low health, when this boss starts channeling an interruptible ability, make sure you interrupt it, otherwise it will kill the tank. So, key points are basically spread out when the AoE's coming, and make sure, of course, that you move away from the small projectiles that kind of come off of it. When there's blood fountains, you spread out, stay away from each other and move your feet. And at 80%, 50% and 30%, there will be ads coming and you have to pay very close attention to those while interrupting the boss. Do not run around the room like a headless chicken, just spread out in a nice, clean circle and you should be just fine. It's quite a fast-paced fight if you've got high DPS, so be very careful. You will overlap mechanics. Now this room is quite simple. There are a few ads in here that you have to deal with. These should be just pinned on the spot like most ads, and obviously the archers should be chained in if you can help it, and the tank should turn everything away from the group. Be aware in this particular dungeon, if you do not grab melee ability kind of enemies or melee based enemies as the tank, you will kill your group. Now these berserker werewolves, they must be turned away from the group at all times. They have a nasty AoE effect in front of them, and they can one-shot a DPS or a healer if you get heavy attacked by them, so be very, very careful. The house is a bit of a maze, so it's quite easy to get lost, but just stick with it, kill all the enemies as you encounter them, and you should be just fine. You do have to make sure, however, on this particular pull that you grab that four-legged wolf, not the two-legged ones that you've seen already, not the werewolves, that armored wolf in the middle. If that heavy attacks anyone, they're going to die, and if you don't block with a tank, you're dead. It's really, really nasty. So again, usual tactics as far as pulling ads is concerned, bring them into the middle, make sure they're turned away from the group, and burn them down as much as you can. AoE will pretty much do most of the job, but you do need to focus the wolf. Now, that's the last of the indoor section until we get to the actual keep itself, but we're now going to go into the maze. Now, this can be really, really tricky. These bears that are out here are really nasty, so the tank needs to grab them instantly. Do not turn them on the group. Do not drop your taunt. And while you've got hold of it, pull the imps in with your chains as much as possible, and your group should focus down the bear. Very simple stuff, but if you don't grab everything quick enough, those light attacks from the imps will take out a DPS, and if that bear cleaves anyone, they are going to die. They hit really, really hard. Very similar to the ones in Bloodroot. Now, the next area of the maze isn't too bad either. You've got one big bear, a couple of wolves, and then some imps as well. So make sure, of course, you grab the bear first of all, because as a tank, you want to make sure that that one doesn't actually chase after the group. Grab the wolves afterwards and kind of call them all up together. And if you can stack them on the side where this tree is, you've got a nice spot there to be able to grab the imps from the sides as well. Again, focus down the bear while keeping your area of effect down on the surrounding targets. Try not to move too much as a tank. You don't want to disco dance in this particular area because you will kill your group. Keep everything as still as you possibly can. But save your ultimates because you're going to need them. This section here will teach you what the stranglers do. Unlike most dungeons, these stranglers will sit down and then they'll get back up again. So once you've killed them, they're not actually dead. That is a very important mechanic to note because it's going to happen throughout the rest of the dungeon, including on the last boss in hard mode. So be very careful not, as the tank, to stand too close to stranglers, because if you get stunned, the group is going to have to break you out. So be careful. Here, grab the bear, grab the adds, stack them all together. But we've now got Spriggans in the room that will channel what we call the danger mouse mechanic and basically turn someone into a giant rat. Now, when that happens, you're completely powerless. As you can see now, I'm turning into a skeever. I can't do a bloody thing. I'm feared, and I'm just running around the room like an idiot. Someone has to interrupt it. So kill the Spriggan, interrupt it, get it down as fast as possible, and then get back to the bear. Keep an eye on these stranglers, because if they pin the tank while the bear's heavy attacking, the tank is going to die. You need to kill this bear, kill the imps, and keep an eye on all Spriggans. Remember, don't just interrupt the Spriggans. Make sure you kill them so they can't keep doing that horrible danger mouse mechanic and turning people into rats. See, this one here has got dots on him. He hasn't been ignored. He is going to die, but you have to keep your eyes open in case he channels again, which he just did. So make sure you interrupt and finish him off. There's one at the back of the room. It's absolutely miles away, so you're going to want to ranged interrupt for this, or have someone with really, really quick legs to go and interrupt him. But if you do taunt this one after it's been interrupted, it will come to the group because it's kind of melee based apart from that channel ability. So if you bring that one in and then nuke it down as fast as possible, that won't be a problem for you anymore. Pay attention to those Spriggans. If you don't break people free, there's nothing they can do to help you. As a healer, you can't heal. As a tank, you're going to cop heavy attacks, and as a DPS, you're just going to die to everything that's running around the room. So be careful. This room here, you've seen this already. Get that bear and stack it on top of that strangler and Spriggan, because they'll all go down together. You've got the danger mouse mechanic again. But make sure your group is aware of those interrupt mechanics. You've done it in the last stream, you can do it in this room. Pay very close attention. You see a yellow beam from behind you, someone's turned into a rat, look around, shout danger mouse, interrupt him, and kill him. Very, very simple, but if you don't do it quick enough, it is a problem. Now, as you can see, there are lots of heals flying around the room. Now, these are different Spriggans. These will keep that bear alive forever until you kill them. So look for where the healing is coming from, then get through the maze, find the Spriggan, and kill it. But go in twos if you can help it. Have a group, maybe the DPS together, which we've done in this one, where we always go together and get rid of the Spriggan. Because 9 times out of 10 where the Spriggan is standing, there is a Strangler as well. And if you are unlucky, which most times you are, the Strangler will pin you on the spot and drain you like the one is trying to do now, which is beside the tank. If that happens to you and you're out on your own, you will die. So always travel in twos. Now, this fight is where this healing Spriggan really comes into play. There are Stranglers around the room. You don't want the tank to be pinned by Stranglers, so hold the boss in the center of the room and he will never ever be caught by Stranglers. Now, there's two teams that we have here. One is the tank and the healer, and the other is the two DPSs. So we do as much damage as we can to the boss, but this isn't simply a burn fest. There are healing mechanics. As you can see there, we got rooted. If that happens, just dodge roll, otherwise it'll explode and kill you. But the two teams need to split up several times. This one here, we have to go and kill this Spriggan to stop the healing. Stay out of the big AoE there. You can kind of dodge it if you're lucky and you kind of get out of it on the right time, but it's quite a long duration. It's quite hard to judge, so just be careful. As you see, I got caught there. Now, every time the Spriggans spawn to heal, both go together and kill it. Then come back to the boss and do damage. And this will happen on repeat throughout the fight. As you can see around the room, there are many, many, many Stranglers. You do not want to be anywhere near them unless you've got a friend with you, because you will get stuck. Again, roots, just make sure you get out of it. You can see here that there's another Spriggan here. We both go together to go and kill it. There's also one on the other side. If you look up, you'll see the heals, which direction they're coming from. You have to be quite quick and get through the maze as fast as possible once you get deeper into it. There's two on this side, but we are being rooted, so you have to dodge roll to break it. So make sure you preserve your stamina. Again, another Spriggan here. Don't try and kill the boss while these are alive. You won't do it. Just keep sticking to the mechanics. It's quite a long durated fight, but as you saw there, someone got stuck by the Strangler. Now we go in twos, so someone can always break them out. It's essential that you do that, otherwise you are going to have wipes. This boss is not difficult. It doesn't need to be a wipe fest, but if you don't go together and you don't work as a team, someone will always get caught by a Strangler, unlucky for them, and they won't live. Again, another Spriggan, get it down as quick as possible. The boss is now at 35% health, so he's not far off the execute phase. When he gets down to around 30-ish, as long as all the Spriggans are dead, you can actually kill him, but you do have to go around and get rid of them first. So again, we're going in a duo, we're always going together. Stay with your teammate. You will get caught by Stranglers. Try and hug the walls a little bit so you don't get caught on them, but if shit happens, your friend is there to help. I think we've got one more left here. Make sure you can navigate the maze. Keep your camera quite high so you can see where you're going. We have to go to the right on this one, I believe. So stay out of the AoE because that does still come towards you as you come out of the maze. That's the tank's job to move that around, so be careful. The tank's job is basically just hold it still, taunt it, and block heavy. So it's not too stressful for the tank or the healer. They've got a very easy job, in fact. But this is you running around, making sure you don't die. Now, of course, as you're running, if one of you runs too fast, you have to consider that the one behind you might get caught. So look around, wait for them to come with you. Now, at this phase here, we're still going to get roots. We still have to break free, so be careful of those mechanics. Whenever you've got the roots around your feet, always dodge roll. You'll notice that we're moving around quite quickly, but we're not sprinting. We want to keep our stamina. Now, this is the last phase. He's at 35% health and under, basically. This is where it starts really kicking in, and you can just finish him off. There's no more healers, there's no more Spriggans, there's no nothing. You just get rooted and big AoEs, and nothing else is a problem. He's a very simple boss, but if people don't work together, you are stuffed. Now, the next area is quite a nasty pull, in fact, once you go through the door. There is an armored wolf in there, which we've already encountered, but you do have to deal with them. They are really, really nasty. So you will have to see this ad pull through, and then the next one is quite rough as well. We're coming up to the next boss already. They're quite close together in this dungeon. Now, make sure the tank has got that wolf. You do not want to be hit by that. Turn him away from the group and do as much area of effect as you can while focusing him. He really, really hurts. Now, the archers need to be pulled in, of course. As you can see there, we're pulling them into the middle. The tank is turning away from the group. Everyone's happy. But don't stand in front of them. If they do any channeled abilities, make sure you interrupt. This pull is quite rough. The enemies come in thick and fast in this first pull, so you've got to watch out. If you're a DPS or a healer and something tries to heavy attack you, make sure that you dodge roll. There's quite a lot of talking when it comes to this boss, but when it does come in, it's quite scary, so be careful. It just jumps in and lands on your head. Now, there's archers at the distance. You've got to pull them in as quick as possible, and as you can see, these guys are all jumping all over the place. If one of them jumps you as a DPS or a healer and you're not blocking or dodge rolling, you will die. They will one-shot you. They really, really hurt. So you want to pin them down as quick as possible. That's why you saw a time stop go in there. We had to kind of CC the area to make sure that we didn't get nuked. Now, these two werewolves you need to get used to. They are going to be happening on the last boss. You're going to get some in the building in a moment. They are really, really nasty. If they heavy attack anyone, they are dead unless they dodge roll. Do not even try and block these as a DPS. Get the hell away from them. Don't run around the room like a loon. Just wait for the heavy attack. And as soon as you see them try and jump you, dodge roll. The tank should grab them quick as hell. Otherwise, you're stuffed anyway. But if you do get caught by them, you have to act quickly. Now, this boss is a pain in the ass. He jumps in off the top there, but we cut the video a little bit. Now, there are ads that need to be dealt with. They need to be CC'd. They can be taunted, but they won't necessarily follow the tank. So they'll chase whoever they want. But in the meantime, as well as the wolves, you've got wardens in the room, and they must die. These shock wardens here put nasty, nasty splash damage all over the ground, and you have to kill them. Now, the boss just jumped on my head. If that happens, someone has to interrupt it fast. Now, the trick to this is to keep as many time stops or CC abilities down on the ground as possible. That way, the wolves are a little bit more manageable, because if they do start focusing a DPS or a healer, they're going to kill them. Now, not only will you have to deal with wolves and wardens, but you will get mass numbers of them. So instead of one warden at a time, you'll start getting two, and they'll be really, really far away. So you do have to make sure you get these down as fast as possible. Keep moving your feet, don't get caught in lightning, and kill the wardens first, and then focus the dogs. The dogs can be CC'd. The wardens will cause a problem, so always focus those down. Now, the boss, again, if it jumps at the furthest person away, as it always will, you will need to interrupt them. Otherwise, it will kill you. So, again, pay very close attention to that. The main thing you need to do in this is keep as much area of effect down on the ground as possible while focusing the wardens when you can. If you try and overburn the boss, you will overlap mechanics and you will get an abundance of dogs and wardens and everything all at once. Now, as I said already, the boss is not the main target, the ads are, so always focus the ads and take the boss down passively. You can burn it, but it's really, really risky. You've got to watch your feet. Now, when it gets to really low health, if you do have a final wave of ads, make sure you interrupt that mechanic there. If you do have a final wave of ads, I would highly recommend you actually kill the ads. Unless, of course, you've got an abundance of ultimates left, in which case you can go for the nuke, but you do have to watch out. So in this situation, we've got 500k health left on the boss. There's a couple of dots on it, but there's a warden in the room. In fact, there's two wardens in the room. It is too risky to leave them alive. So we got one down, we killed some ads, and then we finished the boss off. That is kind of a call that you have to make in your group. You decide whether you want to finish it or just take your time. You can actually pace this fight if you're careful, but above all, the wardens must die. Next up, we're going to go into the keep, and this is quite possibly the boss that we're going to see at the end of it actually is quite possibly one of the most challenging bosses in the dungeon, because there are some unforgiving mechanics in there, but they're quite simple if you understand them. So we're going to explain them, obviously, but first of all, we're going to go through this horrible maze of a keep where you get really, really lost and pick up lots of backpacks, so that's not necessarily a bad thing. But we are now going to see some new enemies. We're going to see some Juffies. Now, they are called Juffies because they look like a big fluffy Daedroth, and if you've watched the stream before, they're called Jeffs, so this is a Juffie. These hit incredibly hard, so the tank needs to turn it away from the group at all times, and the group needs to watch out for the stomp. If it's the breath happening, the tank can block or mist form, if you've got that, and try and survive throughout it. But when it stamps the ground, it will have a big, rapidly spreading AoE around it, and the group needs to get back quickly. That is incredibly important for managing these corridors, because you will encounter Juffies in the corridors, and you will kind of get stuck in a situation where you've got nowhere to go. So in those situations, you have to stay back. This pull here is quite nasty. The tank needs to pull that direwolf as soon as possible to make sure it doesn't nuke the group, and then grab everything together while focusing, not turning it around. The werewolf there, the berserker werewolf, is really nasty also. It has to be turned away from the group. You have to kill them, obviously, as fast as you can, but as long as they're not hitting you, you'll be fine. Now, I would try to save your ultimates for this next room because it's a bit clustered and cluttered up. There are some werewolves in here which need to be grabbed really, really fast by the tank, otherwise they'll one-shot people. And you can drop your ultis kind of here, to be fair, and kill them all really, really fast. They don't have massive health. They're not that hard to kill, but they do hit very, very hard, so you don't want to keep them alive for long. Next section, we are going to come up against another Juffie shortly in the corridor, which is really, really horrible. So you go through this doorway first of all. Keep your eyes and ears around you because you are going to be in trouble if not. The tank must go first. Always first. Now here's a Juffie in a corridor. This is horrible. Tank needs to grab it and turn it away from the group, and everybody else needs to hang back. Watch for the extra adds as well. They need to be pulled in. Do as much damage as you can. If he does the breath, you've got a window of opportunity and you can kind of move in and hit him. But make sure you've got some room behind you, because if he stomps like that, you've got to get out. That is a one-shot. Tanks can block it and just about survive, depending on how much health they've got, but a DPS will be killed. Next room, we've got another Juffie here. Same rules as before, but we have a large pull in here. You have to turn Juffie away from everybody and grab all the adds at the same time without spinning the boss. Or not the boss, but you know what I mean, this guy. Now, make sure you do as much damage as you can, but stay back or be ready to get back if he stomps. He didn't then because we killed him quite fast, but he will do that occasionally, so be aware of it. That's the one mechanic above all with any Juffies that you have to watch out for. The breath is for the tank, the stomp is for you to get the hell out. These were CC'd, so they couldn't be pulled in, but generally, if you can get to them as a tank, try and chain them in alongside Juffie in the middle of the room, and you should be just fine. Again, do not spin him around. If you do, you're a bad tank. This is where we got lost. I think it is. Yep, we got lost. That's easy to do. Loot all the backpacks while you're there, by the way. That's why we're there, obviously. They're looting backpacks. Now, off to the right here. You need to make sure that you follow this out here and all the way around to the right again. Some of the doors won't open until you've killed everyone, by the way, so make sure that you do that. This pull is quite tricky. There's a Juffie up there, but there's also an archer, so you've got to make sure that the tank is holding onto everything, and as soon as Juffie comes in, again, turn him away from the group. You can nuke the archer on his own if you want, but he has to grab these adds in the doorway and hold him still. Again, be very mindful of what he does. He does a stomp, so stand back. Bam, there's a stomp, get back in. He doesn't do it very often, but it's normally quite early on, so make sure you are paying attention to it. 9 times out of 10, people mess up their no-death runs in here by standing in stupid. Do not stand in it. As you can see, the easiest way to pull that lot is literally just for the tank to go through the door and just turn around. It's not too difficult at all. But you do have to kill them, so the door's open. Now we're almost out of the keep, and this is where it gets really tricky. Got a couple more pulls before we go up against one of the really difficult bosses. He is challenging if you don't know the mechanics, but obviously, like I said, I am going to explain it, so do not panic. It helps, again, if you're going for speed runs and no deaths and stuff, that you do kill everything, so make sure that you do kill all the adds. Even the ones outside in the maze, don't skip any if you can help it. Kill this werewolf, keep it turned away from the group, and you are good to go. Now, we're going up the stairs. We've got a werewolf behind us as well, so be careful of that one. We are going up the stairs. Make sure you turn him away. Again, never let that dude face the group, otherwise you're stuffed. And if he tries to heavy attack a DPS because his taunt is off or whatever, make sure you dodge roll it if it's coming to you. Now, we've got one more nasty Juffie pull as we get through this door. You want your tank to go first always in this dungeon. Always let the tank go first. Let him get up there, grab him and face him against the door while picking up any other adds along the way. So run straight in as a tank, taunt him and spin him around. As the DPSs and the healers, make sure again that you stay back, because he's going to stomp the ground. Those werewolves that come in from the left and the right there, the tank needs to grab them very, very fast without spinning him with the breath and hold them together. As you saw, we got through him quite quickly, but if he's not killed quick enough, he will stamp on the ground, so you don't want to get caught by that. Now, this boss has very low health in comparison to most. It's only 3 million, so the same as a basic target skeleton. But he has some nasty mechanics. Those two adds there can actually turn into Juffies. One of them randomly will just turn into a massive Hulk werewolf. So you want the tank to grab the two adds and pull them to one side of the room. Just pull them into the corner, and you want to get those adds down as fast as possible. If you're quick in killing them before he transforms, he won't turn into a Hulk werewolf. But if you do not kill him fast enough, of course, he will transform. And that's why you want to keep him in the corner. That AoE there is picked onto one person, so make sure that person gets away from the group and come back in when it's gone. And in the meantime, do as much damage as you can to the boss. But be careful, because the health percentages is when the adds come out. So when you hear him talking, here we go, straight away, the two adds are coming out. It's around the 80 to 75% mark. We've got two adds again. Get the tank to grab them and pull them in the corner. Kill the adds. Ignore the boss, kill the adds. They can turn into Hulk werewolves, so we've overlapped again, because we're almost at 55%. And we've got two more. Grab them and kill them. Now, you saw me go into a bubble there. When that happens, whoever's in the bubble needs to be broken out, so do damage to it. Here, you can still do damage to the boss, but you need to be paying attention to the symbols above his head. When they stop and change to the one that he's happy with, one of these will be lit up with the color corresponding to what he's got. Every single person must find one of these, equivalent to what he's got, and hide in it. Just stand in it. When that happens, the room will explode. If you're in the right one, you will live. If you're not, you will die. As you saw the tank run up the stairs to get his. More adds. The tank needs to pull them to one side. You've got two options here. You can kill the adds first, or you can just nuke the boss and hold the adds in the corner. Very, very simple. Kill the boss. Game over. Now, those adds will come in 4 times based on the health of the boss. So don't overburn him if you don't think you can. So the easiest way to manage it is grab the adds, put them in the corner, burn them down, focus the boss a bit. Grab the adds, put them in the corner, focus the boss afterwards. AoE around your feet, stay away from the group. Bubble on you, someone needs to kill it. Symbols above the boss's head. When he's finally settled with one, find the symbol that he wants and go and find one spot each. That is relevant for this boss also. Remember those symbols. Now, there's 2 wolves here. The tank should taunt one of them and run up to the boss and tank the boss. Keep the other wolf loose. They share the same chain, so if one is near the boss, the other one's near the wall. Kill the red one, he's a little bit easier to manage. Now, if he heavy attacks you, you need to dodge roll backwards, not around, because if you do, he will spin with you and you'll die and kill your group. Once he's down, then start focusing on the next one, and then you can focus on the boss. Now, at 90%, you will see 2 werewolves come into the room, which you do have to deal with. But if you're burning the boss unnecessarily, or you've got too much damage, whatever, and he goes down to 85% very, very quickly, you will get another 3 in. That does happen anyway. They're at certain stages, but you will get the whole pull all at once, which we're now about to get. Now, this is where you can utilize time stop or negate bubbles or anything to that effect to control the adds. Save your ultimates for this phase every single time. Nuke them with everything you've got. Time stop them and make sure you do as much damage as you can. These wolves must die. Now, it's very tricky, and if they do jump you, they will heavy attack you and they will kill you. As you see, our healer just got nuked. Make sure that you pay attention to those heavy attacks and get out of them quick. It's very hard for the tank to taunt everything. As you can see there, that heavy attack, I dodge rolled backwards. Always go backwards, not sideways, because he will spin and catch people. In fact, his next heavy attack, I do go sideways, and you can actually see that it spins with you. So anyone caught near me will get killed by that. So, get the brown wolf or the red wolf down really, really quickly, and then focus on the next. And it's rinse, repeat. Every time these 2 wolves are out, kill the red one while the tank holds onto the grey one, and then kill the grey one afterwards, and they'll go cowering back to their corners. Now, occasionally the boss will put up a totem which will fear you, so don't stand in it and be careful if you get feared. You need to break free. And at 70% health, you will get 2 wolves coming in again from the sides. At 65%, you get some more, so make sure that you're careful with your damage. If you overburn, you'll get the full pull. If you don't, you can actually pace it and take them 2 stages. But again, this is where you throw in all the ultimates that you've got. Nuke them down with everything that you can, hold them in with CC, drop time stop on them and keep them still and kill them fast. Now, you may have noticed that the stranglers are awake. You need to be careful where you stand, otherwise they will pin you. So you can actually just do passive AoE wherever you're doing damage, and the stranglers will sit down every so often. Just watch what you're doing with your feet. Again, the 2 wolves are up, grey one with the boss, red one on the side. Watch out for the red one, because of course you do have to dodge roll his heavy attack, but sometimes he will leap. If this happens, dodge roll or you're dead. It's very hard to see, the animation's quite difficult to spot, but he does leap at a member of your group occasionally, normally the furthest one away, and if it happens you have to dodge roll or it's a one shot. Now, watch out for the flames, kill the other dog, watch out for stranglers. Just keep your dots down and they should be fine, especially around near the tank, just so he doesn't get pulled in all the time. More damage on the boss, 50%, we've got wolves coming in again, so be careful. But now we have a warden as well, so this is where you move your ultimates to the back of the room instead of where the boss is. So we drop all of our ultimates that we can, and CCs for the wolves down near the warden. But there's two phases of these. So the first phase, we try and pace our ultimates and not use them if we can, but if you are stuck you might want to. But we've prepped them deliberately for the next phase, because there is another one coming up very, very soon. So you can either pace it, use your ultimates and build them back up again, or you can just hold on to them until the next phase. Now, our healer got whipped over there by the stranglers, so you have to be very, very careful. Now, the next wardens, as you can see, is almost 46%. You've got some more dogs coming in. This is where you really want to finish them off with your ultimates, like I said, or you can just pace it. It's up to you. Now, kill these as fast as possible, CC them with your time stops, and then carry on back on the boss. Stranglers are awake, so keep your AoEs down to help the tank and do as much damage to the boss as you can, because the phases are about to change dramatically. This is where it starts getting very, very complicated. Keep your dots on the boss, keep your dots near the stranglers, and now we have the wolves awake again. Get the red one down, get the tank on the grey one, kill the red one as fast as you can, and dodge roll the heavy attacks and the leaps. You must focus this wolf, otherwise he's going to be a problem. When he does go loose, he's going to jump on one of your teammates. Get out of the fear totem, avoid the heavy, and carry on back on the boss again. Now, once we get this grey wolf down and the boss goes to about 30%, shit is going to get mental. So, get this wolf down, keep damage on the boss passively, and pay attention to your surroundings. Stay out the fire, by the way. Now at 30%, we're going to get wolves, wardens, and symbols. As you can see, the ghost from the last boss is in the room, and he's put down these runes all over the friggin' room. Get onto one of these wardens, drop your ultimates, and kill all the wolves as they come to you with time stops and everything else to control them. In the meantime, keep an eye on the boss in the middle of the room, the purple guy. He's going to choose a symbol, and whichever one is lit up, you're going to have to stand it. I am very unfortunate in this position because I am in a nasty AoE. But we live. So once that happens, everything in the room is frozen, so you can do damage to the enemies that are in the room. You can still keep hitting them. So do as much as you can to these wardens and wolves. Once they're all down, then you need to focus on reses if you have to, and passively hit the boss again. Get him down gradually. Now, every so often, those runes will come back. That boss in the middle of the room, the ghost guy, is going to bring up all those symbols. You're going to have wardens to deal with. The wardens are back in the room again at 25%. And you've got all the nasty effects from the last boss, so pay attention. As you saw then, I just got whooped by a werewolf, so you've got to be very, very careful there that you dodge that heavy attack, otherwise you are dead. You have to kill these as fast as possible to make sure that they're not overlapping mechanics, and when you can get resin if you're lucky, you have to go back to these runes again. So keep an eye on the guy in the middle, he's going to pick a rune. Easiest way is to just spot a symbol that's got a yellow light underneath it, and get one each. Now mine is a blue one, I'm stuck behind this friggin' boss trying to get to one, so I'm dead. But basically get into the runes, just like the last boss, and then carry on killing the ads again. This is where basically you do not need to panic. It's runes, ads, boss. Runes, ads, boss, repeat, repeat, repeat. You must kill the wardens, of course, they are priority, so get them down as soon as you can. And in the meantime, watch out for the basic mechanics coming from the guy in the middle. He will put nasty AoEs around your group, and you do have to make sure that you stay away from your group when they're on. Now, when all the ads are clear, get back onto the boss again. Every single phase, when all the ads are clear, get back onto the boss. If there's two wolves out, which there will be, make sure you focus the wolves. Remember, the grey one is with the tank and the red one is not. So stay together, stop running around the room, and kill the red one. Sit him down so he doesn't do those nasty lunges. Remember, when the rune phases come up, all the ads actually stand still, so you're pretty safe when this happens. Wait until you've got the correct rune, and then go and stand in it. So keep an eye on the boss in the middle there. It's a green one. We need a green one. Stand inside of it, and you should be fine. Now, this wolf doesn't actually take damage during this phase, so we are a little bit stuck there. There's nothing we can do. But when the room blows up and everything's safe again, you want to focus back onto that wolf. The tank will keep the grey one, and the red one can be loose. But now the chains are off, so the tank can actually hold them both, so be very, very careful, and do as much area of effect as you can to get both the wolves down while focusing the boss, if you can do so. Each wolf that goes down will go cower into the corner again, and you're left with just the boss. All you need to do at this phase is just keep doing your damage, make sure the boss is faced away from the group, and pay attention in case the mechanics come back in again, and it's just rinse repeat. Get in the runes, get out, get in the runes, get out. So hopefully that helped. Hopefully you now have a better understanding of how to approach that particular dungeon. The last boss can be chaos, but if you split it up into sections, it's a lot easier to digest. Just be careful, as you did see, I got stuck behind the purple guy there. Don't run straight at him. He's got a large hitbox. It's really hard to run around. And also be very careful of those werewolves when they do jump and heavy attack. They can come out of sides that you don't even see them coming from. They're very difficult indeed. So be careful. Time stop is key. Anyway, again, hopefully that helped. Thank you very much for watching. I hugely appreciate the support. And if you're not subscribing already, please do hit that button. It is free. Furthermore, if you want to help support outside of the channel, there are some links in the description for Patreon, Twitter, Facebook, and of course the website, xynodegaming.com, where all the written guides are as well. And I live stream on Twitch every day from 10 PM UK time, unless I say otherwise on Twitter. Once again, thank you all very much for watching. Best of luck with the dungeon, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.